everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Q&A with Mamas Uncut, where we answer your anonymous questions about parenting, motherhood, relationships, and so much more. Back with us today is Lisa and Mindy. How are you guys?
Hi, everybody.
You ready to give some more advice?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to it. Okay, so we have another celebrity question based off an article that we've written this week. And it is, what is your greatest marriage advice? So recently, Anna Faris was on Glennon Doyle's podcast, and Glennon Doyle asked Anna what her greatest marriage advice would be for her 8-year-old son. And this is what she said. She's like, I don't know if it's too grumpy and cruel to say this, but in a sense, if I could tell my 8-year-old son one thing that he would maybe stick to, I would really encourage him not to get married in his 20s. To which Glennon Doyle responded saying, it should be illegal to get married in your 20s. Do you agree?
Okay. All right, so are we answering our best marriage advice or very specifically?
Two-parter.
Probably a little of both.
I mean, for me, I got married in my 30s. I was 31 when I got married, and I was also 7 months pregnant. I was actually thrown in the pool at my wedding at 7 months pregnant. Yes, that was, and we wonder why my daughter's like she is. Anyway, so I'm a big fan of like finding yourself and you doing you, and with how and people are becoming, they're adulting at a later age, and I mean, when you're ready, that's fine, but I think most people probably aren't at this juncture from what I have seen, right? Because that's, I think waiting is a good thing.
And marriage advice?
Oh God, don't ask me that. I did everything
That's what I want to hear from you.
I think the advice is don't do what I did. When faced with one of the decisions I had to make, go the opposite direction.
So did Anna Faris, she's not married again, right?
She's currently
still
engaged.
Single after her divorce? She's engaged. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. First of all, I have a different take, and granted, I'm 12 years into my marriage right now. I got married when I was 23, so I was pretty young, but I had graduated from college. I had a lot of fun. I had, I feel like I had a pretty decent single time before getting married. I don't think it's right for everybody, but I think I've always been pretty mature for my age. I've always been a pretty old soul. My mom told me I had an old soul, and I think that it can work for some people. I think as long as you are committed to letting each other grow and not necessarily holding on to the person you married, and you kind of morph and grow together, because everybody's going to continue to mature and continue to change as they grow older, no matter what age they are. But the biggest advice I would have for marriage is talking about when you have a problem. It's so easy to assume in a marriage, especially after you've been with someone for a long time, to assume they know what you're thinking and assume they know how you're feeling. If something's bothering you, you have to vocalize it, or else it remains unsaid. You start getting resentment, things start building up inside of you. I'm a big proponent of telling everybody to just speak their piece and figure it out from there, because I mean, it's hard to communicate like that. It's so difficult to be open and raw and honest with somebody, and oftentimes it feels like it's difficult when you do that and you feel like you're breaking something, but then when you work through it, it actually makes your marriage stronger. So I think that that's the only advice for my my dozen years of marriage, which does not make me an expert.
I am not going to give any advice because, as I said, I am single. I'm 28. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to wait for marriage. Like, marriage was never at the forefront of my mind. I don't know why. I come from a long line. I mean, My mom was 20, my dad was 23 when they got married. They've been married for 30 years, so they've had some sort of success there. I have been diagnosed with commitment issues, so that's a whole other thing there. Good reason why I'm not married or in a relationship yet. So I think it really is like it goes back to the mature thing, and if you're willing to fight for it. Because if there's one thing that you've been told time and time again is marriage is not easy. And marriage should not just be something that you go into thinking like, oh, it's just the next step in our relationship. I mean, it is, but it also is not. Like, you just agreed to forever with this person. Like, of course, there's divorce out there and everything else, but I'm assuming when you're taking those vows, you mean it in the moment, right?
Well,
So,
and when kids enter the picture, that's a whole nother level of commitment and, all right, what do we need to do to work it out?
yeah, exactly. So I think for me is like if you feel mature enough and you feel like you can handle the hardships that are inevitably going to happen in a marriage, then go ahead and do it. I don't think age really has anything to do with it, but I can see why, obviously you're more mature in your 30s than you are in your 20s. So it makes sense. All right, guys, don't forget to send in your anonymous questions. Thanks.